On the night of December 24th, an explosion occurred in Moscow. As a result, 3 people were killed, including 2 traffic police officers. According to reports from Rospubliks, before the explosion, a man ran up to the law enforcement officer's car and threw a bag containing an unidentified device inside. Another unexploded improvised explosive device was found near the site of the explosion. The investigative committee has a different version of what happened.
According to the investigation, on the night of December 23rd to 24th, on Yeletskaya Street in Moscow, 2 traffic police officers noticed a suspicious person near a police service vehicle. When they approached to detain him, an explosive device was detonated. As a result of the injuries sustained, 2 police officers and the individual who was near them were killed.
Photos and videos published by Telegram channels show that the site of the explosion is located next to the police station. This crime was committed just 300 meters from the spot where, a few days earlier, Lieutenant General General Sarvarov, head of the Operational Training Department of the General Staff of the Russian Federation, was blown up in his car. The explosive device had been placed under the chassis of a Kia Sorento vehicle. As reported by the Novosti news agency, several GRU officers live in the building next to which the explosion occurred. It was reported that the department headed by Sarvarov in the General Staff is one of the key divisions and the brain center of the Russian army. The car bombing of Lieutenant General General Sarvarov became yet another indication of the vulnerability of the Russian elite. This event may have a significant impact on how the situation is perceived in the White House, demonstrating that Moscow does not have full control even in its own rear. This analysis of the situation was provided by Moscow correspondent Ivor Bennett. 6 months before Sarvarov's assassination, in April 2025, Deputy Chief of the Main Operations Directorate of the General Staff Yaroslav Moskalik was killed in a car explosion in Balashika near Moscow. He was walking past a parked car when an explosive device detonated inside the vehicle. The directorate headed by Moskalik is a key link in planning any Russian military operations. He was directly responsible for preparing troops to be sent to the front. In December 2024, under similar circumstances in Moscow, the head of the Radiation, Chemical and Biological Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, was killed. The bomb was attached to the handle of an electric scooter that was parked by the door from which Kirillov exited.
A high-ranking official of the Russian General Staff was blown up in Moscow. According to Telegram channels, on the morning of December 22nd, a Kia Sorento exploded in a parking lot in the Orekhovo-Borisovo district of Moscow. The incident occurred around 7 in the morning near a residential building on Yaseneva Street. It is noted that the driver managed to drive a few meters before his car exploded. The man was hospitalized in extremely serious condition with shrapnel wounds to his legs and a fractured facial bone. He soon died in the hospital. It is known that the deceased was Major General General Sarvarov, head of the Operational Training Department of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. According to Russian Telegram channels, the cause of the explosion was an improvised explosive device. The power of the IED was about 300 grams in TNT equivalent. Residents of houses located 2 blocks from the incident heard the explosion. The death of the Russian general was confirmed by the Investigative Committee of Russia. The official representative of the agency, Svetlana Petrenko, stated,
"The Investigative Committee of Russia has opened a criminal case for murder in connection with the car explosion on Yaseneva Street in Moscow, which resulted in the death of Lieutenant General General Sarvarov, head of the Operational Training Department of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation."
According to her, experienced investigators and forensic experts have been dispatched to assist in solving the crime.
The examination of the crime scene is ongoing. The investigation will appoint the necessary expert examinations, including forensic medical and explosive technical analyses. Witnesses and bystanders are being questioned, and surveillance camera footage is being reviewed.
The investigative committee stated that various theories regarding the murder are being considered. One of these theories, as indicated, is related to the organization of the crime by Ukrainian special services. This is not the first case of high-ranking Russian military personnel being targeted with explosives. In April of this year, a car exploded in the Moscow suburb of Balashika, resulting in the death of one of Russia's key army generals, Yaroslav Moskalik. He was responsible for planning strategic operations of Russian forces on the territory of Ukraine. The explosive device was planted under the car, which was parked near the official's residence. It was detonated remotely. Russian law enforcement officials suggested that there was a surveillance camera in the car monitoring the general's movements, and they also did not rule out the possibility that the person who carried out the explosion could have been watching everything from the balcony of a neighboring building. And in May, in Russia's Stavropol, Major Zaur Gertsiev of the aggressor country's army was eliminated. He led the air component of the operation to seize Mariupol in 2022 and was responsible for targeting missiles. Gertsiev held the position of head of the Combat Control Center of the Air Force and Air Defense Army. A man approached him, and after that an explosion occurred. According to media reports, he was blown up by a suicide bomber who had a homemade bomb in his bag.